Yeah. For those of you who know me and have been around me a while, you know that I am a short hair girl and I like to keep this nice, neat little short haircut. And my COVID hair is just not very cooperative. So it's pretty much starting to drive me crazy. Almost took the scissors to it myself, but I resisted, so because I know what that would end up looking like. I know I saw some place where somebody, like the new trend was going to be that women are going to start using the shears and shaving their head, but I've had that. I've been there before. I'm a cancer survivor, so I've been the hair growing out and having no hair already, so I'm kind of been there, done that, so I'm not looking forward to that. Okay, just a couple more clicks here. Get it passed around. If y'all would share it or put it on your timeline, that'd be great. And I'll tell you a couple things going on. Okay, lots of y'all are posting. I appreciate that. All right, so this is April the 30th, and a couple things I just wanted to tell you about before I forget. So I think you all know what a medical kidnap case is. A medical kidnap case is when there is a medical issue with a child and the state takes a child and puts the child in custody, and they give them an improper diagnosis, or they don't do a thorough examination of medical records, etc. So I have had a few medical kidnap cases, and one of the big issues that just keeps popping up, there's two things. One of them is subdural hematomas, and the other one is fractured ribs. Okay, these are two big things that happen over and over and over. And you would really think that they would just stop doing this, taking babies over this, because here's what happens. Babies, especially those are premature, and if they have any other birth issues, it can be low birth weight, it can be low vitamin D, it can be that the mother had some type of some other precondition that caused a compromise in the baby's metabolism. But their bone structure, their bone health is one of the things that just really gets affected by this. And so you have babies born, especially premature babies, and we actually, there's a chart that shows that if you have a premature baby, they're going to lose calcium and bone density for until they kind of reach that gestational age, because typically the last couple months of gestation, they would just like really pump up in calcium, vitamin D, bone strength, etc. And so when a baby's born premature and low birth weight, it means they're just not fully developed. And the fact that the doctors won't acknowledge this and do something to help these babies right away is just so disgusting. It's so crazy. So, and I've had several of these cases. So one of the cases that you all are familiar with, I fought, those have been around a while because we've been fighting it since 2014, 2013, but we fought through a case out in Cumberland County, fought through this juvenile court and then to the circuit court, and brought in some medical testimony to really talk about the fragile bones and the tiny bones that babies have. And I put one expert on by deposition, a video deposition, and another expert I had come in and testify, and we probably put on about 8 hours of medical testimony, just going through the details of the bone metabolism. And you know, the doctor talked about how tiny this baby's bones were and what a real fracture looked like and how they could incidentally fracture. So we won that case. I ended up suing. And, you know, it's so important that you understand on a civil rights case, very hard to make these cases, very, very, very hard. Sometimes you just have to take them so that you can start to create new law and start to develop a better case, a better library of cases that protect family rights. They're hard, they're expensive, they're challenging. The government will spend tons of your tax dollar money defending these cases. I mean, they spend thousands and thousands because they don't ever want to be wrong, and they don't want to ever have to go to a jury. So they'll just get all kinds of attorneys that come out of your tax money, by the way, your tax dollars that you work so hard for, and defend these social workers and doctors that are doing this. So we took this case in behalf of the parents and behalf of the children, but basically I really have to do it in behalf of the babies because of the statute of limitations on a civil rights action. So I took this case in behalf of two children. First one was the one who had the rib fractures, and the second one was the child who had no rib fractures, and they took him when he was 4 days old. And so I took it into the Middle District Court on due process issues, search and seizure issues, etc. And it got dismissed, which it is all, they're all getting dismissed in district court. And so then you have to go to Sixth Circuit Court, and that is an appellate court up in Ohio. And it has for me, Sixth Circuit is Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So it got dismissed, so I filed an appeal, I filed my brief, and it is set for oral argument on June the 17th. So I want to put this out there right now because when I post this, I'll put that date up there again. Anybody who has a medical kidnap case who can come up and be in that area, I mean, it's a very short, it's like 30 minutes of attorneys arguing. I mean, it's not a big deal litigiously, but it would really be nice to make a showing or have some people come and show that the medical kidnapping issue is a problem. Now, I'll tell you, going to Sixth Circuit and arguing, I'm very disappointed right now because I had another Sixth Circuit argument about a year ago. Everything seemed to go our way. Everything went our way. The questions all went our way, and then the opinion was against us. And in the opinion, they left out half the facts. I mean, it's a case where a child was put in solitary confinement, and they left out half the facts in the opinion. And I asked for them to reconsider a rehearing, and they just said no. So I'm really bummed out right now. I'm really suffering. I'm just going through a real bummer attitude, because I've worked so hard, and I do work so hard to protect rights and protect parental rights and family rights, and then that something like this happens, and then I just get totally bummed out. So anyway, we do have that coming up in Sixth Circuit Court in Cincinnati. I know there are a few medical kidnap cases pending that are people around this area, and I will probably send a couple private messages, but you may want to try to go up there and just have your presence known. I don't know if we can get enough people. Maybe we can get press or something, all right? Medical kidnap, very important. We've got to start creating the law that protects families in medical kidnap cases. We have no good law. We have no good law. There's one case out of Cincinnati from about 2 years ago where a couple of families took the case to federal court because they went to the hospital and they did some unconsented medical treatments to try to find abuse or make a showing of abuse, but their children were not taken away from them. So because the kids were not taken away, they really were not able to make a very good case. However, that opinion did say that the hospital could be found to be a state actor if the state had compelled the parents to participate in the procedures at the hospital as part of the investigation. And that is exactly what happened here. So I don't know. Here we go. We're going up there. I'm going to go. I drive all the way up there. It's 5 hours away. Sometimes I spend the night, but this is a case that's set on the 1:30 docket. So I don't know. I'm getting too old to get up and drive at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but maybe I'll drive up there anyway. So early. So I've flown up there before, and it's really just like almost not worth it. It's by the time you fly, it takes you just almost as long as you drive, and it's very expensive to fly to Cincinnati, so I'll probably end up driving. So y'all put that out there. Any people in Ohio, if we want to do something, get together, we should do that, June the 17th, all right? So also, I'm going to also kind of throw this out there. I don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to go. Don't know, and can only, so many things I have going on, I can only give you this much information. But there is a stir in this county that I live in about some issues that have happened with the judiciary here, and there's a little storm coming, I guess I can say, and say it carefully, but there's a little gossip and talk going on, and I've got some people I'm talking to, so I don't know. We're going to talk about it. I've had some experiences over the past few months. You know, judges don't need to be rude. They need to be courteous. They need to be respectful. I mean, I've been around for over 25 years. You can be a judge and be respectful. You don't have to yell at people. You don't have to try to make people cry. You don't have to be ugly to attorneys. You know, and then when an attorney tries to correct the record or get things straight on the record, you don't have to be nasty. It's just, It's just stupid. It's just so stupid that we have to put up with that. I mean, if you're going to be a judge, you need to have the temperament for a judge. I'm just going to say it because it's just the crazy part of what we have to deal with. So during COVID, we've had no public access to the courts except on a very, very, very limited basis. So I've had some hearings by WebEx and Zoom, had a whole trial by Zoom on Monday, and it didn't go too bad. You know, there's one issue with Zoom. You're sitting, you know, face to face like this close, right? To where your face is that close to the judge in high definition, and the judge is that close to you in high definition. So it's a little bit different than being in a courtroom because, and I was talking about that earlier this week, but, you know, when we're in a courtroom, we sit probably 20 feet away, sometimes 25 feet away, depending on how big the courtroom is. And, you know, there's a podium there. And as an attorney, depending on the positioning of the courtroom, sometimes you can kind of like hide behind the podium if you got to like scratch, you know, the back of your head or something, or like when you're just like wanting to smack yourself in the face and shake your head and put your head down, you can kind of do it without really drawing attention. It's really hard to do when you're like this close on Zoom. Okay. So it was a new experience. I'm sure some more of that's going to happen. Have had a couple WebEx hearings through juvenile, but you know, it's not great. It's better than not having anything, I guess. But on the other hand, it does save clients money because we don't have to travel to court. So they should probably figure out the electronics of it a little bit better and, you know, clear it up and make it better. In cases that don't need big, long hearings, we should be scheduling this honestly all the time. As far as I'm concerned, I have always said that the courts are the most inefficient and money wasting, time wasting system that we have. I mean, there is no other business that operates in such a wasteful manner. So maybe something will come of it, but it's just kind of crazy. We're just kind of plowing through. I've got some briefs. I've been doing a lot of brief work writing some briefs. I've got some state court briefs, a couple more federal court briefs I have to write. So it just really requires a lot of just like hyper focus. It's such a pain in the neck. I can't even explain to you how annoying it is. But so also in Wendy's case, drain the storm in Knox County. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're still waiting on a court order from December. Still don't have a court order. Nope. Things are crazy chaos. Lives of children are being wasted and damaged. It's just horrible. So anyway, in Wendy's case, they have, I am telling you, City of Smithville has put so much money, taxpayer dollars, into ridiculousness when they should have followed the law in the first place. Yeah, they just ignored the law, violated constitutional rights, and they are putting so much time and money into just trying to flip the story, right? I mean, they're the ones who broke the law. They're the ones who stole the cell phone. They're the ones who hit a kid. They're the ones who did an illegal pinging of a phone. I mean, they're the ones who did it, and they have just like, and you know, so far they've been able to flip the story, but you know what? I just have to keep pushing forward because I know the whole story needs to be told. The story needs to be told. So we're pushing it. They filed like another 300 pages on us today. They just can't get enough. So, but you know, I can't wait to stand up and argue it in front of the Court of Appeals and say, you have got to, you know, the Tennessee Supreme Court already made a ruling that you can't go trotting off to another county secretly to get a search warrant, and it would be void, and yet that's exactly what they did in the juvenile court to get an ex parte order. Yeah, and they stalked me, so they'll probably be pulling this video and they'll probably be watching it. But you know what? I'm going to stand in front of the Court of Appeals and argue that, because y'all need to get your act together. A bunch of freaking kangaroo courts in juvenile court. That's what the United States Supreme Court called you back in 1974, and you still can't get it together. So, you know, I see little bits of improvement. I have a few courts that I think do a decent job, but generally, overall, they got a long ways to go. So, yeah, stalkers. So Wendy says she's on page 181 of 300 pages that I just sent her today. Actually, I sent you 2 emails, Wendy, so I don't know if I may have not even sent you the second one because it was so redundant, but Yeah, and Sarah says the judge in Knoxville is only working 1 day a week. We've had an order sitting out there since December that he's not signed the order. Just got an order on another case that was from August. From August of last year. Just got the freaking order. So, so anyway, what else? Anything else I want to tell you? I've got something out of Arizona, a federal court case I was going to read through tonight. Looked like maybe something interesting was happening there. I hope everybody's being safe. You know, I'm pretty much sticking to home and work and made myself some little masks, but you know, I'm just going to tell you, those masks like suffocate me. They fog up my glasses, and when I wear glasses, and so I think they're pretty miserable. And it's like, if I don't really have to have it on my face, I'm like not going to wear it. But so let me see. Let me catch up here. Yeah, Dad's working every day, has a kids. Yeah, leaving kids at home. Absolutely. I'm seeing some crazy things. Let me just talk about this. I saw somebody just posted where they were a story about DCS coming, or DFAX. So DFAX is maybe Kentucky. So people, when you post your story or share a story, please put the state where you are, because I can kind of tell. I know enough of what these state agencies are named that sometimes I can tell, but like Tennessee, it's Department of Children's Services, and Indiana, it's Department of Children's Services. DFAX, DFAX maybe Georgia, Department of Family. DFAX, Department of Family and Children, I don't know. But please put the state where you are, and actually even the county. If you would put the county as well. I know another story came from a mom out of Missouri. I mean, sometimes I look through a story and I can't figure out where they are. So please, hey Amy, hey Bob. Yeah, and so please put the state and the county where you're located so we can figure out what's going on. All right. Yeah, so anyway, so somebody was living in a camper because they had the money to rent someplace, but they couldn't go rent any place because if somebody has something empty, they're not putting it up, they're not renting it because the courts are closed and they can't evict anybody. And I mean, this came up in our trial on Monday. We were just talking about this issue of whether or not rental property we could impute income on the rental property. And you know, they were like, well, the courts can't hear any evictions, so nobody needs to pay any rent. So now, you know, that is that's a problem, because most renters, I mean, or a lot of them, probably half of them, are individual people. You know, they're just people. They're not big corporations. So, anyway. All right, I hope y'all have food. Everybody has plenty to eat. There are stores not letting people in grocery stores with their kids in New Mexico. Do they? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I saw somebody else posted a story about that. What do you expect single parents to leave their kids in the car or at home? I mean, it's ridiculous. And I don't know how y'all are dealing with kids. Oh my gosh. What an extra added layer. You know, there are 3 elementary school kids in my household, and so spend all day working, come home and do sight words, do grammar, adjectives, and reading, and I'm like, oh, good Lord. So I hope y'all are surviving. I know that whole added stress, the money, the virus, and the kids, the 3 things together are just enough to really make it unbearable and unlivable. But you know what? We'll get through it. It's an odd time. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And, you know, the worst thing I think I saw was in the late 70s. They were like rationing gas when Jimmy Carter was in office. And you could only go get gas on certain days of the week, depending on your last name. It was pretty funny. But, you know, it lasted like, I don't know, a month maybe at the most. And then it just kind of evaporated. So, you know, I'm not going to get into the politics of this. Family Forward Project, y'all who've been around me know what my politics are, but Family Forward Project is not for me to, you know, lay the politics out there. I have my own opinions. Sometimes I post that on my personal page, but I really want to keep you posted on what's going on with family rights, family integrity, etc. So I am on a listserv with a bunch of attorneys all over the country. There is some COVID stuff going on. Parents have been cut off from, who have kids in care, have been cut off from seeing their kids. and they can't have visitation, and and they're trying to do Zoom visits with babies, like 8-month-old babies. They're trying to do freaking FaceTime. I mean, are you kidding me? Good Lord. So anyway, I'm going to let y'all go. I just wanted to give you a catch up on that status of the Sixth Circuit case and getting that oral argument set, because that's at least good news. At least gives me the forum, and it'll be an oral argument, and I'll post the oral argument, and we just got to keep telling that story. And I've got other broken rib cases, fractured rib cases. We've got to make the fractured rib case a narrative, because they are they're ignoring so much. Oh, and so I'll tell you this, because I have another fractured rib case right now, and I told you this the other day. I got to see the CAT scan of the baby's skull. He has like freaking holes in his head. He has holes in the skull, right? And the child abuse doctor's going, oh, he has healthy bones. Oh, he recovered from all of his premature bone deficiencies. He has healthy bones. You can see freaking holes in his head. So there's a lot of things that they're just ignoring or not paying attention to, and it's just evil. It's just so evil. So, all right, and that's it, everybody. York County, South Carolina DSS making additional reports to the hotline against my daughter, whom they say is guilty of neglect. I put an appeal in for her right away. The worker made another report. When does this stop? Yeah, so I'm going to tell you, you get a target on your back with CPS, and you have a target on your back, and they will run you ragged. I was just talking earlier this week about a case that this family with a little boy with autism had been fighting their allegations for 3 or 4 years, and finally they just came and took their kid away from him and said, well, we're going to get him better treatment than you do, and then they never got him treatment, right? Knoxett County said court is closed through May 31st. Oh my gosh, and it'll be revisited then to see if it'll open or close. It's just, ugh. And I have many cases that were in the middle cases and it just got stopped. My daughter and her husband gave his kids full time because the mom is an essential worker. The adults have decided, well, okay, that's good, Wendy. Yeah, I mean, if that's after May 30th, martial law, 14th Amendment. Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, now you guys are getting political on me. I'm going to scroll back here, see if there's a couple other comments. Amy, my 20-year-old Texas A&M student, is helping my 14-year-old keep up with his schoolwork. Well, good for you. Thank goodness. I'm working so many hours I can't be home with him all day. Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah, you have a great kid if they're reaching out and helping each other. Good Lord. David, toying around with the idea of partnering with NAMI and Keep the Promise Coalition in Connecticut to start working on a CT Senate bill requiring psychiatric screening of I've got a low network connection here. Prospective CPS workers before hiring them. Legislative session would have ended mid-May minus COVID. Yeah, that's real interesting, David. I'd be happy to toss that back and forth with you. Okay, so it looks like my internet's phasing out here. I'm outside. I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here and get some rest, right? I need to chill my body out and let my head stretch, and because now I'm sitting at a computer desk like almost all day. It's so making my back hurt like crazy. All right, so I'm going to let y'all go. Keep the strength. Let's get it together, y'all. Somebody send me, and is somebody going to do some trump cards for me? I mean, I've sent out probably, it's 500 myself. So if y'all can write 4 or 5 trump cards, send me your address in a PM, and I'll send you a little envelope. They already have stamps on them. You don't have to go to the post office. You need to write a short little paragraph, and you need to put it in the mail to President Trump. Okay, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. I have a new contact with somebody in Congress I'm going to be following up with in here shortly. So keep it going. We've got to stop this craziness. All right, love y'all. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.